Welcome to the Grow Renaissance podcast. Let's nourish the world.
Okay, welcome back to Pasture Prime Time, a Grow Renaissance podcast series hosted by myself, Neil Smith. Today, I'm really excited to have a guest join us all the way from South Africa, Nkosinathi Nkosi. Hopefully I said that correct. And he is located in KZN and works in the area of vermiculture. And so we're going to talk a little bit about worms today, vermiculture, agriculture, all the cool things happening in his side of the world. So Nkosinathi, thank you for making some time. I know you and I have been trying to connect for some time now, but we're finally here, and I'm really looking forward to diving into all the great things you have going on over in South Africa. But maybe you could do a bit of an introduction about what got you into vermiculture and a little bit about who you are.
Well, thank you very much, Neil. I'm very much excited. Yes, of course, we've been trying to have this time for quite a time right now, but I'm grateful that it's happening now, and I feel very, very honored also to be part of this podcast. I think for my journey, I'm an agriculturist by profession. I would also say academic-wise as well. But I'm also, I just love nature. For me, I recharge when I'm in the mountains, just walking in the forest, and the birds making the noise, singing, and all that just revolves around nature. But for the journey of the journey of vermiculture or worm farming, it started when I was a farm manager in South Africa, in Pretoria, Gauteng, and my boss then wanted to expand the operation and also to produce more of our vegetables in an organic way. We are using a little bit of both, using the natural fertilizers, you would say, and the synthetic. But now we had a good feedback, I would say. We were producing the green peppers, and one of the clients said if we can just stop all our orders and focus on him alone for the big markets. So our expansion was motivated by that. And because what differentiates our farm as well is that we are producing directly from the soil, and we're using a lot of compost, because the farm where we were at, I remember when I arrived there, I was laughing because the soil there was saying no. When you've been taught about the kind of soils that you can farm on, and we had gray soils, they were stony and all that, so we needed to put more of organic matter into it. But it was just your thermal compost, I would say. And then when we found out about worm compost, I did some bit of research, and it was well spoken of. But what was surprising is that when I tried to place an order for, we were expanding from 8 tunnels to a shade net, and even more to 21. I'm not sure if the numbers still are correct, but it's almost over 20 tunnels. And the supplier that I was able to get at that time could only supply us maximum of that can cover 1 tunnel. I'm talking about your 30 meter, 10 meter tunnel. And I was curious, then if this product is this good, why is it not available in the market? And as I was doing my research, I realized that most of the farmers or commercial farmers were doing it just for their own production, not for the market. And it was working for them, and sugarcane farmers. And I began to be more and more curious. And also, I'm a businessman. I just love creating businesses, creating something out of nothing. So my general manager then, we were just doing the value of a square meter, which was a game changer for me, because when we were looking at cabbage, when we're planting the cabbage, you can only get as a maximum of 4 cabbages per square meter, which in South Africa is giving us almost, I'm saying 400 Rand, because it's 40 Rand because it's 10 Rand times 4. So, and the same square meter, if you put the worms in, and it's the same period of 3 months, and you're getting 4,000 rand. So comparing the 40 rand and the 4,000 rand, when you can convert into the dollar, and then you can see how much difference that is. So for me, it was a no-brainer to go into worm farming. I started with the domestic worm farming training course with my team at that time, and I think it's the journey has been amazing because that experience alone taught me the basics of managing worms, of which I then, I would say I taught myself to move from domestic to commercial through watching YouTube videos, getting the research. I'm not a researcher, but I believe I'm an implementer. So just taking good research and putting on the ground and see how it works. And I was quite amazed because I only took one of the staff I had. One person in 1 week was managing that worm farm, and the worms just multiplied. It was crazy. And I said, like, wow, this thing is working. Low maintenance, low risk. I had no reason to doubt and to go back. And I started to do my trials, the differentiating between vermiculture and vermicomposting. And then just fast forward, when my contract was over, I did not renew. I told my MD that I'm going back to my own farm, my homeland, and I'm going to do worm farming. And I guess they didn't take me serious at the time because I was going to start something from nothing. And yeah, we started the company, and people were very excited. They've never heard of worm farming. And we only did our first marketing when we started, and the rest was the word of mouth. And we just took off. So that's just in a nutshell.
Well, that's wonderful, and I really give you a lot of kudos for jumping into that opportunity. Many of you would know that listen to this podcast that I've had a lot of experience with vermiculture. So, but it looks different. It looks different in different areas of the world. The types of worms we use. So maybe in Nkosinathi, you could explain the types of worms that you use because there's different varieties. In North America, we often use red wigglers, but you've got European night crawlers, and you've got different varieties. So maybe you could explain a little bit about the types of worms you use and why.
Well, I guess the red wigglers are superstars. And yeah, we only specialize we only do red wigglers. And it's been the past 5 years, we've not done any other species but just those ones. I always refer it as a nguni worm. When you're talking about turkey farming, that it's able to adapt and it's strong. It's for us. It was when we just evaluated all the different species that were available. That's why we thought it would work best for us, and also the reproduction rates. And it's just strong. It adapts easily in different environments. So that's the reason.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people lean into them in vermiculture and vermicomposting because of their adaptability. As you probably know, and maybe just for our audience, worms are shredders. They actually shred the nitrogen and they shred the materials. They have a gizzard if you look at their structure. And that's really what makes them so powerful is that as they're creating the tunnels, they're actually shredding the materials and kind of working it into the soil structures, which allow for water to be penetrable and sit in the caverns, the holes that they make, and intermix with some of the shredding. So the nitrogen component is a big one. I'd love to know how is agriculture as a whole in KZN in particular, and maybe South Africa. Maybe you could talk about, are you having a fairly good season? Is it rocks, up and down? How does agriculture, how is it looking right now in South Africa?
Well, it's quite a challenging one because it's broad when you're looking at agriculture as a whole. For myself, I'm more into, I would say, crop production as opposed to animal husbandry, which has been a challenge in these days. We have foot and mouth, and it's been terrible. However, having had those challenging as well, it's been a win, a great win, because for the first time in South Africa, we were able to get medication that can be distributed to farmers to handle that. So it's been a challenge, but also times to celebrate because it's quite a milestone in having such an achievement in a long time. So it's been great on that. And also, as much as we're not into animal farming, we get our supply from cattle farmers because we feed the worms, the cattle manure. So indirectly, when it comes to vermicomposting, with all the regulations, you can't get into the farm. You need to make sure that you don't contaminate the operations and the rest. So it does bring those kind of like limitations. But however, as the industry, I believe it's been a good season. Even though, as I said as well, I deal more with small scale farmers, not commercial farmers. So I might be speaking on one side when I'm looking into it. I'm not much exposed to commercial operations, but here and there we do work with commercial farmers. And of which, if they do place an order to us, this is going to be a big order, and that's what we want to establish going forward. Yeah. And maybe to dive in a little bit further on the question is, we've seen a dramatic change in the attitude towards vermicast. Because when we started, commercial farmers were not buying into it. They tell you, I've been using these synthetic fertilizers for years, and why should I change now? Even if they see the value of the vermicast, but to convince them that this can really work, so the transition is not quite easy. But we've been privileged to partner with some commercial farmers that enrolled in our program and that are producing vermicast and using it in their own farms. So when other commercial farmers are seeing the change, so now it's the mindset is changing. And then also with the cost of fertilizers going very high, it's really forcing some of the farmers to revisit their production methods. So I'd say the buy-in is much bigger than when it started.
That's great. What do you think the biggest aspect is for farmers outside of financial, with synthetic fertilizers and other fertilizer inputs rising in cost? Vermiculture certainly is a very economical option, but what are the other things that farmers are seeing at the field level, the benefits for using vermiculture? Maybe you can explain some of the results that you're seeing.
For us, I think the main, the number one factor is cost saving. Of course, if you can produce your own and a large scale, you are able to, we don't say 100%, but at least 50% to just bring down the cost of fertilizer. But also the restoration. Now, because vermicast is not much of a fertilizer, but we look at it as a soil conditioner. So we're not looking at short term here. We're feeding the soil. We bringing the ecosystem back to life. So it's not just about the produce for the season, but it's about what will be happening next year, a year after, in the long run. So we are restoring also life that has been dead in the soil. So I think that's an angle. I think it's for us, for the first time, the product that we currently have was our entry level, which we're more like focusing on vermicast as a soil conditioner, getting into the competition with the normal compost that is available. But now what we'll be introducing and launching this year is a product that is to compete with the fertilizer. We'll be blending our vermicast with the comfrey and with the azolla and some other things I won't mention because it's a secret formula. But the aim for the product now
for the
is
audience
really,
listening here, Nkosinathi is
yeah.
frozen up a little bit. So just hang tight. Well, hopefully he'll come back online.
Can you still hear me?
For those of you curious, vermiculture is available in a lot of locations throughout the world.
Neil, I see it's
compost, worms helping with composting, and then you've also got vermicast, which is actual basically worm poop that you spread out, as Nkosinathi was saying, as a conditioner or an amendment. And it's basically the little cocoons of baby worms that are spreading out with the soil and a little bit of their poop. And as the baby worms start to grow and hatch, hatch then grow, I guess would be the right direction. They really start to create some aeration in the soil, start to do that shredding, create some biology as they go along, and that's where you start to see the ecosystem really picking up here. So Nkosinathi is just coming back in here. Hang tight.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
glad. That's reconnected for a long time.
No. Yeah, we're good. I was filling the gap there, just explaining the difference between vermicast and vermicomposting. But you were just about to tell us the new product that you're launching that is going toe to toe with some of the fertilizers just before you dropped out there.
Oh yes. Okay. No, I was saying that it's the product that we'll be launching this year will be focusing on vermicast as more of it's a fertilizer than being a soil conditioner. We're looking into it. We'll be blending with the corn-free, my favorite plant, and azolla, and we'll be also putting in the biochar and other nutrition value that will be adding in. But I won't say the whole formula, but we'll be working with the scientists to get the best formula we can get that will really compete in the market. And also just to prove that nature has it all. We just need to go deep and let it take care of itself.
Yeah, we just got to give it a head start here and then let nature take over, right? So that's great that you're blending in with biochar. I've worked with what I call living soils. You take vermiculture, you take soils that are inoculated, you take char, biochar in some form or another, and you blend it all together. And you can do that and pelletize it. I've done that and put it as pellets. I've also you have to really pay attention to the humidity, right? Because when you pelletize, you've got the humic and the humidity component. And then we've also spread it, and we've also deep drilled it. And so putting it down shoots, so you get it into the subsoil quite deep, and so it works from the bottom up. Yeah. Maybe I love the audience because a lot of them don't know KZN very well. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the farmer types. You've already mentioned the food crops that you love, but what's the predominant farming mentalities there? What does it look like? Are you mountainous? Are you flat? Just share a little bit about agriculture in KZN, where you're at.
Well, I didn't get you very well at the end, but just the background of agriculture, if I got it correctly, and how it's like.
Just sort of what I was asking is just sharing a little bit about what agriculture looks like in KZN. Maybe you could share a little bit about the landscape. Are you flat? Are you mountainous? What's the predominant crop? There's a lot of small scale farmers. Just share a little bit because there's a lot of our audience that doesn't know what agriculture looks like in South Africa, but specifically in KZN.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, for my background, before even going to study agriculture, I grew up in the farm, and though it was subsistence farming, but we hardly bought vegetables. That thing I started only when I was in tertiary. So when I grew up with my grandfather, from maize, all your basic vegetables like your cabbages, spinach, beetroot, carrots, we were harvesting just in the yard, if I could say. And the one, even when it comes to meats, we had almost quite a broad variety of production that was happening on the farm, including chickens as well. And we'd go fishing there. So that the subsistence production the rate was higher then. But now, I mean, even in my uncle's farm, it was the same thing. But we've seen that culture fading. People are no longer producing food for themselves. We've relied into commercial production, mass production. And what has seemed to be dominant there, specifically in KZN, we've been big on sugarcane, as well as the forestry, where if you can come in my house, I mean, we have we are surrounded by plantations.
Okay.
The house is right in the middle, left, right, all around of plantations. And so there's timber, the high production of timber there.
Where are you in relation, like Durban and then Shishlui, and then like
I
where?
mean, Durban is an hour drive away from where I am. I'm more closer to Pietermaritzburg.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So yes, sugarcane. Excuse me. Yes, sugarcane, maize, and forestry. Yeah, that's one yeah, we've got quite a lot of that. Even though the sugarcane industry has been shaken quite a lot, so we don't know what direction is going to be taking. But yeah, we've seen many farmers pulling off, and also some mills that where they process all the sugarcane, they're shutting them down. So we don't know what would be the future of that. But also, this can be an opportunity to venture those farmers into something different, like vermicomposting, because we'll never stop production. So we always try to look when we can maybe bring a solution. And of course, the aim of everything is so that people can produce food organically. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's I think those are the main and the common ones. Also, especially when we train people, we encourage them to start with vegetables, basically like your leafy crops, spinach and cabbages. Are most popular because it's easier to get into the markets, especially the local markets. So it's something that you can produce, take to the stores directly, get a form of income, and that's good cash flow. Then you can see how you grow that into whatever other production you might have, if you consider grains or looking into beans. But yeah, it's quite a wide production.
I like it. I like it. Do you have much conversation between the difference between organic and regenerative? Is that a term that you hear or comes up in your world?
Regenerative, I won't lie, it's quite a new concept. Even though sometimes we talk about it, we understand the background, but I think it's been synthetic and organic for a long time. For me, our debates and the conversation we had, those are the categories that we've been debating upon, whether it's organic or non-organic, and GMOs and the rest. But regenerative, I know that's where we're looking into, especially also with the business that we're in, because it's
Yeah.
all revolved around that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And vermiculture goes beyond agriculture too, right? Like there's some areas that use vermiculture for just dealing with water treatment, dealing with
It's true.
methane gases. So you've got
100%.
applications with the city and with, maybe with ESCOM and some other power generation plants,
Mm.
soil remediation, around mine
Yeah.
sites. So it's got quite
You're
big
getting me excited
applications.
now. You're
Yeah,
getting
good.
me excited.
Excellent. That's what I like.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Because I'll be releasing a book this year.
Hmm.
I think two books actually. It's Vermitechnology in Africa, and that one is focusing mainly on the major challenges that we're facing. I know some of them are global, but we're looking at the waste management, water filtration, we're looking at unemployment, and all these. We pose them as the challenges that we have, and then we bring technology, which is beyond now worm farming. Because when we speak of worm farming, most of the time we're referring to primary agriculture. We're looking at vermiculture, we're looking at vermicomposting, which is happening in the field. But there's still, I would say, we need vermicurriculum. We don't have even one single course that can be certified or that is certified in South Africa, or let alone in Africa. I haven't seen any. We need people to get into universities and get qualified as vermitechnologists because the industry is big. The landfills are not well managed because the costs are high. And if you bring vermicomposting right on site, it's a game changer. And yeah, so it's quite a very interesting topic for me. And one of my staff members used to ask, but if you're training so many people, don't you see that you're creating competition for yourself? And I said, no, this is collaboration. The more worm growers we have, the better chance we stand to build the industry, because currently it does not exist. So before we can think of secondary and tertiary level of this, we must make sure that the ground is covered.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. When your books come out, we'd love to have them listed on our NourishMart, which is our commerce platform, and get them out, to our community and the broader region, because I think, it'd be some great transferable knowledge that would be applicable for everyone.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, excited for that.
Actually, I'll give you the two books, but we'll have this conversation and outside this platform, and then I'll really appreciate to get a feedback from it, even prior publishing the second one, which is Vermictechnology Codex. This one it's global; it touches everybody, because we look at 21 ancient and current opportunities within the vermictechnology space.
That's great. Yeah, I look forward to reading it. And so if we had people in South Africa, or those looking to set up farming and they wanted to get in touch with you, where would they find you? How would they get their product? How would they get education? Are you at trade shows, or, if they're in the Northern Cape, if they're in Joburg, if they're Shelley Beach, how do they get access to you?
Okay, the first one, the easiest one is the website. For the product, we have an online store. It's wemlifeorganics.co.za. However, I'm available also on TikTok as Wemlife Organics. But what we're doing now in South Africa, we are building base farms in every province. We've been successful in building in 4 provinces.
We have a bit of an unstable connection.
So base farms are more like our franchise model.
Rural part of South Africa there, as you mentioned, and we do know that the signal isn't great. So this is one of the conditions us agriculturalists deal with in rural areas, where our infrastructure, specifically our technology infrastructure, is sometimes a little bit harder. So Nkosinathi just rejoined us again, and he can continue sharing how you can access and find him. So he was just sharing a little bit about TikTok when you last dropped off there. I was just explaining about some of our technology signal, but maybe you can continue on from where you left off at TikTok.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Neil. Now, I was saying now we are building base farms throughout the country, in every province. We've been successful in establishing in 4 provinces, so we have 9 in total. So we just want to make sure that we have a footprint in every province. The base farm are more like our franchise model, where we'll be doing training, selling stock at demonstration sites, and people can come also and experience the whole process, the commercial running operation, not just for trials and training only.
Great. Well, I do know signal keeps coming in and out here, but this has been a great conversation, probably the first of many. And I really want to thank you, and thank you for the work you're doing in South Africa with vermiculture and composting. And I highly recommend everyone, going on TikTok and finding Nkosinathi. He's also got a school platform. That's where we found each other. We've invited him over to our grow school, but he's also got a school platform.
Yes.
But let's really champion his cause there, and continue sharing what we're doing at Grow here. So Nkosinathi, thank you so much. I will let you know when this gets posted, and we look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thank you very much, Neil. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much.